Shmai everyone, it's JonnyVR here with another Time Lord Victorious review. Today I'm going to be reviewing Defender of the Daleks number 2, which is the second part of the contribution by Titan Comics. Stay tuned for my review of Big Finish's short trips later on, and in that video there'll be another Time Lord Victorious update. And those of you who want to give Time Lord Victorious a go, check out my Time Lord Victorious playlist, where I go through each product and the cheapest way to experience the story. The first part of this review will be spoiler free, and then I'll give you notice when I'm going to go into spoiler territory, because if you've read this comic and you want to talk about it, let's have a discussion in the comment section. Beware of potential spoilers when making a comment though, so put a spoiler alert on your comment to let others know. On to the spoiler free part of the review. The story picks up where Defender of the Daleks number 1 left off, but it does give a short paragraph recap, so if anything you can read this on its own as the story concludes, but it benefits from having read Defender of the Daleks number 1. All that I've said about the art and the way David Tennant's lines are written in the review for Defender of the Daleks number 1 remain the same here, so check out my review of that. But briefly, this includes various bright and dull colour schemes, and they capture David Tennant's mannerisms very well, even if at times and at certain angles the art for the 10th Doctor makes him look different and unlike David Tennant. What's different about this second comic is that characters and villains introduced in Defender of the Daleks number 1 are developed in interesting ways. In particular, they did a really good job with making individual Daleks feel very much their own character. The villains are also an interesting concept, and we will only really learn about them in this comic. They represent another aspect of the Dark Times setting that means we get to explore what life was like in this relatively unexplored period. My only issue is if they don't appear again in Time Lord Victorious, then they would only really be within the pages of this one comic, so it would be a bit of a fleeting appearance. In this comic, there are also some additional surprises in store that don't disappoint, making Time Lord Victorious much bigger than what I thought or I expected. In addition, this comic does hint towards other Time Lord Victorious media in a way that quite clearly establishes which release is next in the chronology, but doesn't require you to then purchase that product. So as a whole, you can enjoy Defender of the Daleks number 1 and 2 as standalone to any other Time Lord Victorious media. But the connection is there, and it definitely feels like it's teasing you, because you will know which product is next. However, with the 10th Doctor featuring in the most products of Time Lord Victorious, it's still unclear where the comics fit into his journey. I can't see how the 10th Doctor goes from these comics to the book, for example. We'll have to wait and see if other releases will make this clearer. It's also worth mentioning that Titan Comics have made this fit into their own schedule of Doctor Who releases as well as Time Lord Victorious, so they've connected this in 2 ways, which is very impressive. Overall, I thoroughly enjoyed Titan Comics' contribution to Time Lord Victorious, and Defender of the Daleks number 1 and 2 are among the cheapest items you can get, so it's good for those who just want to read these comics, or for those who want to find out what happens next. I'm going to go into spoiler territory now, so here is your spoiler warning. I love how the Dalek's prime strategist is developed even more here. He wears his scars as pride because it's easier than thinking of it as punishment. And when he's attacked by the Hond, he gets another scar in which we can see the Dalek inside the tank for the rest of the story. And I love how they included that in the art. It's also incredible how the Prime Strategist feels very unique in this comic, whereas in Defender of the Daleks number 1, the Emperor gets more time to be developed. Given their appearance in other Time Lord Victorious media, we will get to know them even better. The Hond are another addition to the Doctor Who universe, being a sentient, primordial ooze at the beginning of life that didn't know what life was supposed to be like. They are also pain and suffering made sentient, so they want to rid the universe of all life to prevent pain. In the end, they are freed from the pain, so it's unclear whether they'll show up again, in which case it would be a shame if they only really appeared in this comic. The biggest surprise is the appearance of the 13th Doctor to help the 10th Doctor escape. Given that they've added another incarnation of the Doctor into Time Lord Victorious, the scale of Time Lord Victorious feels even bigger than it was before. This is also one of the ways that Titan Comics connected these issues with their own range as well as into Time Lord Victorious, with the next story being Doctor Who comic number 1 featuring the 10th Doctor, the 13th Doctor and the Sea Devils. The way that it connects to the rest of Time Lord Victorious is clear at the end, when the Daleks target the 8th incarnation of the Doctor. This means that the comic will lead into the Paul McGann trilogy by Big Finish. It's not necessary to go and purchase that, but it definitely leaves you wanting more. So there we are, that's my review of Defender of the Daleks number 2. Let me know what you thought of this installment of Time Lord Victorious. Feel free to post comments about the comic, but beware there may be spoilers there. So perhaps put a spoiler warning on your comment if you're going to talk about the actual story. Stay tuned for more Time Lord Victorious reviews, and if you haven't already, check out my Time Lord Victorious playlist where I go through each of the products and the cheapest way to experience the story. If you want to support our channel, you can do so by going to coffee.com/SkybartFilm, where you can tip us the price of a coffee, which we will use to get better equipment and make better videos for the channel. So with all that said and done, thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!